Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good evening. I'm Christina Haji Murad. Welcome to News at 10 and the top stories tonight. Her Royal Highness Princess Hajar Rashida Datul Bolkiah attends the 8th Community Day celebration organised by the Brunei Darussalam Girl Guides Association. UNISA, as a genuine Islamic university, is not only popular among the locals but has also gained attention at the international and regional levels. This year is the 8th year that members of the Brunei Darussalam Girl Guides Association celebrate Community Day. Attending the celebration this afternoon was Her Royal Highness Princess Hajar Rashida Datul Bolkiah binti His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassan Al Bolkiah Muizzadin Wad Dawlah. The function took place at the Girl Guides Association headquarters in Kampung Anggrek, Desa Berakas. Upon arrival, Her Royal Highness, as the President of the Brunei Darussalam Girl Guides Association, was greeted by the association's executive members. Also in attendance was Her Royal Highness Haja Majida Nurul Bolkiah binti His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassan Al Bolkiah Muizzadin Wad Dawlah. The reading of the Surah Al-Fatiha was led by Dayang Haja Fatima binti Haji Abdul Ghani, the association's spiritual commissioner. Dayang Haja Siti Hafsa binti Haji Abdul Halim, Chief Commissioner of the Girl Guides Association, in her welcoming speech, among other matters, said that the community activities organised by the association are in line with the WAG's project on community development. The Girl Guides Association, she added, has planned a project for the replanting of the vegetable beds at the headquarters, which were previously handled by the Junior and Ranger Girl Guide members, as well as the Junior Leaders Unit of the association. The replanting of the 9 vegetable beds will be carried out by volunteers from the Community Development Department, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, involving single parents as well as the less fortunate and senior citizens registered at the Community Development Department.
Yang akan dijalankan oleh sukarelawan dari Jabatan Pembangunan Masyarakat, Kementerian Kebudayaan, Belia dan Sukan, yang melibatkan ibu dan bapa tunggal serta orang-orang kurang mampu serta warga emas yang berdaftar di Jabatan Pembangunan Masyarakat, Kementerian Kebudayaan, Belia dan Sukan.
The Girl Guides Association Community Development Projects for 2015-2016 was shown in a video and PowerPoint presentation. Among the projects carried out were assisting senior citizens, single mothers and people who are less fortunate, as well as breaking of the fast or iftar with orphans. The function ran concurrently with the handing over of the community and volunteer project to the Community Development Department representative. The project is hoped to raise the spirits and act as encouragement towards community and volunteer activities by members of the Brunei Darussalam Girl Guides Association. At the function, Yang Teramat Mulia cut a birthday cake. To bless the ceremony, Dua Selamat was read.
واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله.
Her Royal Highness' presence at the function shows the united support of the association members in carrying out welfare and community activities. 1,708 people will take part in the 70 times Khatam al-Quran by members of Mukim and Village Consultative Councils nationwide in conjunction with His Majesty Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan Brunei Darussalam's 70th birthday. Details next. First, the excerpt of His Majesty's Tita. "1,708 people will take part in the 70 times Khatam al-Quran by members of Mukim and Village Consultative Councils nationwide in conjunction with His Majesty Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan Brunei Darussalam 70th birthday. The ceremony, the sixth of its kind, will take place at Istana Nurul Iman on Thursday. The 4 districts are represented by 70 people in every category, including adult men and women, youths, as well as 690 boys and girls aged 12 years old and below. The children are students from the Quran Reading Scheme for Youths, Quran Reading Scheme for under 10-year-olds, pupils of Arabic and Al-Falah schools, religious schools, Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah Tahfiz Al-Quran Institute, and Yayasan Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah School. Awang Haji Madli bin Muhammad Yusuf, the Senior Special Duties Officer, Ministry of Home Affairs, who is the co-chairman of the Dissemination and Publicity Committee of the 70-time Khatam al-Quran ceremony, gave the details of the event. Awang Haji Madli describes the event as an act of worship and brings the added value of divine blessings to the celebration. The Senior Special Duties Officers adds that it is also a pasamba or gift from the loyal people of His Majesty in the form of dua and Quran reading. The Khatam al-Quran ceremony is significant in that it is participated by adults and youths as well as children who are below 12 years old. The children too are those who have completed reading the 30 juzul or chapters of Al-Quran.
InsyaAllah akan berterusan dalam memberikan nilai tambah kepada perayaan yang bersifat kebangsaan ini. Nilai tambahnya itu ialah kerana ia adalah persembah dalam bentuk doa dan fadilat membaca Al-Quran oleh rakyat yang bertaat setia mengasihi rajanya dan mendukung kepimpinan baginda. Pada tahun ini, nilai tambah majlis ini akan diserikan dengan kehadiran peserta-peserta khatam Al-Quran kanak-kanak di bawah umur 12 tahun yang mewakili setiap daerah.
New converts in the country are not left behind in enlivening the month of Shawwal. This morning, the Tutun District New Converts Association Persatu held a Hari Raya Aidil Fitri celebration at the association's building in Kampung Lubuk Pulau. Presiden Yang Berhormat bin Udal Hatib Datuk Paduka Seri Setia Ustaz Haji Awang Badaruddin bin Pengarah Datuk Paduka Haji Osman, the Minister of Religious Affairs. The function was enlivened with a nasheed performance by teachers of the new converts guidance classes in the district. The function coincided with the presentation of hampers to 6 senior citizens as an appreciation for their part in Persatu's success. 6 new converts also received clothing donations from Persatu. Pusat Bahagia trainees in the 4 districts and residents of the Welfare Housing Complex of the Community Development Department JAPIM this morning was celebrated in a Hari Raya gathering. The function was held at the indoor stadium of the Hassan Bolkiah National Sports Complex in conjunction with the National Family Day Celebration 2016. Present at the gathering was Yang Berhormat bin Datuk Laila Raja, retired Major General, Datuk Paduka Seri Haji Awang Halbi bin Haji Muhammad Yusof, the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports. The function aimed to provide an opportunity for Pusat Bahagia trainees and residents of the Welfare Housing Complex, as well as their families, to mingle with staff from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports and relevant stakeholders in a joyous Hari Raya Aidil Fitri atmosphere. Apart from that, it also aimed to strengthen family ties and increase its involvement with the community. The ceremony is an annual activity organized by the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports and conducted by the Community Development Department. The Cultural Night festive stage performance in conjunction with His Majesty the Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam's 70th birthday celebration continue to be held to further enliven the celebratory atmosphere in the Tutong district last night. The Cultural Night festive performance was conducted by the Keriam Malay Association Pesaka and the Kampung Keriam Consultative Council. Among the spectators was Awang Wardi bin Haji Muhammad Ali, Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Primary Resources and Tourism and wife. The cultural performances were staged by youths from the Culture and Arts Youth Group of Pesaka and members of the Kampung Keriam Consultative Council. The stage performance will continue tonight with a Pantarama presentation organised by the Information Department. Stay tuned for more news after this. The Sultan Sharif Ali Islamic University, UNISA, can go far and has the potential to become a hub for Islamic higher education in the region in the future, with the increase in number of international students furthering their studies at the university each year and the expansion of strategic cooperation with international and regional higher education institutions. This is a manifestation that shows UNISA as a genuine Islamic university is not only popular among the locals but has also gained attention at the international and regional levels. Dr. Haji Nur Arfan bin Haji Zainal, Director of UNISA, was speaking at the reading of the pledge for new UNISA students for the 2016-2017 session this morning. Dr. Haji Nur Arfan said that looking at the current development and the future prospect, UNISA is prepared to develop and expand its faculties and academic excellence center, as well as offer more dynamic academic programs that fulfill the country's and current needs. He added that the establishment of a permanent campus for UNISA, which will be built in the Temurong district, will further expedite the institution's wish of becoming a world-class genuine Islamic university.
Yang akan didirikan di daerah Temurong akan mempercepatkan dan memudahkan lagi UNISA mencapai impiannya sebagai sebuah universiti Islam tulen bertaraf antara bangsa.
A total of 324 students have been accepted to further their studies at UNISA in various master's, degree and diploma programs. The figure is an increase of 24% compared to last year's admission. UNISA's Ta'aruf or Orientation Week will provide the new students with a chance to undertake various programs, including an exposure to their respective academic courses, as well as other religious and community service programs towards producing pious and worthy graduates who can contribute to the development of the community and the country. The Seri Begawan Religious Teachers University College Kupu SB became the choice for Institusi Agama Islam Negeri IAIN Batu Sangkar, Indonesia to visit due to similarities in terms of Islamic education and studies. The matter was voiced by the Director of IAIN Batu Sangkar during a working visit to Kupu SB this morning. During the visit, Dr. Kasmuri Slamat was briefed about the college by Muhammad Helmi by Hakim bin Haji Awang Yusof, the Director of the International and Public Relations Office. The visit, among others, aimed to explore more about the programs offered by Kupu SB and to strengthen relations between both parties. Also present was Dr. Haji Anan bin Haji Besar, the Acting Rais of Kupu SB. His Majesty's 70th birthday celebration continues to bring cheer to the people throughout the country. Last night, the Language and Literature Bureau, in collaboration with the Putra Seni Group, held a children's musical sketch competition. It took place on the festive stage at the parking area in front of the Royal Regalia building in the capital. 6 groups comprising youths aged 18 years old and above from the Brunei Muara district took part in the contest. The event aimed to raise the prestige of Brunei's traditional children's song and nurture the youth's love for the national culture, as well as to enable youths to be creative and show their talents. Prizes were presented by Dayang Haja Nortija binti Haji Muhammad Hassan, the Acting Director of the Language and Literature Bureau. The competition was won by the Padian group, followed by Chok Kerapang and Hujan Rintik Rintik groups in 2nd and 3rd places. 42 pins of blood were collected during the blood donation campaign for the Agro-Technology and Science School IBTE Agro-Technology campus in Kampung Wasan this morning. The campaign was organised by the Innovative Youth Entrepreneur and Blood Donation Centre, Raja Istri Pengeran Anak Soleha Hospital. Such activity is aimed at raising the public's awareness on the importance of donating blood to help those in need. Sports news coming up right after this break. Welcome back. And in sports, the country is hosting the Under-14 Regional Festival of Football organised by the Asian Football Confederation AFC. The 5-day festival kicked off with the opening match played this afternoon. The opening ceremony was held at the track and field in Barakas. The football festival was officiated by Yang Berhormat bin Datuk Laila Raja, retired Major General Datuk Paduka Seri Haji Awang Halbi bin Haji Muhammad Yusof, the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports. 10 teams are taking part in the championship. Group A includes teams from Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore and Brunei Darussalam, while Timor-Leste, Malaysia, Cambodia, Philippines and Laos are placed in Group B.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate and most merciful, I hereby declare the AFC Under-14 Regional Festival.
The festival kicked off with a match between Brunei Darussalam and Myanmar. The match saw the host country fall to a 2-1 defeat. In another match, Malaysia recorded an 8-0 victory over Timor-Leste. Meanwhile, 2 Under-14 AFC football matches were played this morning prior to the championship's opening ceremony this afternoon. The match at the track and field of the Hassanal Bolkiah National Sports Complex saw Thailand go up against Vietnam. Vietnam opened the scoring in the 48th minute when Duc Trong, only for Thailand to level matters 7 minutes later through Kittipat Pangkam. Thailand completed the comeback after Punawat Chote Cherachaiton scored late in extra time to secure his team a 2-1 victory. Elsewhere, the Philippines took on Cambodia at the Berita Sports Complex. Cambodia fell behind to Dela Cruz's first half strike but managed to restore parity in the 43rd minute through Bentuan Banurong. 2 quick-fire goals from Rai Lip Feng and Bontuan Banarong in the 57th and 60th minute gave Cambodia a 3-1 victory. Brunei Darussalam has gained its first silver medal through the men's Nandao category in Wushu. The match took place at SJK Chuang Hua in Kuching, Sarawak. The medals were presented by Yang Berhormat bin Datuk Laila Raja, retired Major General Datuk Paduka Seri Haji Awang Halbi bin Haji Muhammad Yusof, Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports. The national athlete Muhammad Adi Salihin bin Roslan, competing in the men's Nandao category, gained 9.54 points. Gold was won by Negeri Sembilan Wan Melaka, took the bronze. Also present was Datuk Paduka Dr. Haji Effendi bin Pengen Orang Kaya Saiful Mulok, Datuk Seri Paduka Haji Abidin, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports. Meanwhile, in the women's Jianshu category, the national athlete Basma Lashkaru was only able to obtain 8.6 points and placed 8 out of 10 participants. In this event, gold went to Penang, while Sarawak took both silver and bronze. The Brunei Darussalam netball team will take part in the 10th Asian Netball Championship, which will be held in Thailand for 8 days, starting on the 31st of July. A ceremony to hand over the national flag was held this afternoon at the lecture hall of the Hassanal Bolkiah National Stadium in Barakas. Datin Peduka Haja Intan binti Haji Muhammad Qasim, the president of the Brunei Darussalam Netball Association, in his speech hoped that the national team will be able to compete with other teams and develop the sport of netball to an international level and at the same time raise the country's name in the eyes of the world. The national flag was handed over to the team captain Dayangku Nur Amal Nadira binti Haji Muhammad Alim. The national team is placed in Group B with Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Japan and Afghanistan. We bring you the weather forecast next. The general local weather condition for the next 24 hours is expected to be cloudy with occasional showers and thunder showers. Tonight, occasionally rains heavy at times are expected over many areas. Sea state is light to moderate at 0.8 to 1.3 meters and wind is from southwest at 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. An advisory has been issued where continuous heavy downpour may cause flash flood over low-lying and flood-prone areas. Wind gust of up to 40 kilometers per hour is possible during heavy rains. Tomorrow morning, the weather will stay mostly cloudy with occasionally heavy and thundery rain, especially in the early morning. Sea state and wind will be similar as tonight. The afternoon will remain cloudy with a chance of isolated thundery showers. Sea state will be slight at 0.5 to 1 meter and wind will be from southwest at 10 to 25 kilometers per hour. Wind gust of up to 40 kilometers per hour is possible during heavy rains. Wallahualam bisawam. A look at the forecast for Brunei Darussalam for the next 3 days and the weather for some of the main cities around the world. And now I look at the Nizam Zakaro Tideways for cash and property. Moving on to the foreign exchange rates between the Brunei dollar and some of the international and regional currencies. Stay tuned for world news coming up next. The top stories tonight. China proposes the establishment of East Asia Community. Knife rampage kills 19 at Japan's disabled care center. The 17th Association of Southeast Asian Nations ASEAN +3, China, Japan and South Korea Foreign Ministers meeting opened in Vientiane, capital of Laos today. The foreign ministers discussed regional development and security, the establishment of the East Asia Economic Community and other topics. China proposed the establishment of the East Asia Economic Community around 2020 to boost the regional development. Lao Foreign Minister Salamoe Komasit, who presided over the meeting, summarized the working plan from 2013 to 2017 and described the future goals of development. Komasit said the meeting is a preparation for the 19th 10+3 Leaders Summit that is to be held in September.
I would like to thank the media for covering this meeting and like to invite them.
Meanwhile, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said the ASEAN +3 meeting as the main channel for cooperation has offered strong support for economic integration in East Asia and played an important role in enhancing mutual understanding, deepening cooperation and handling challenges. Mr. Wang said the 10+3 meeting has been focusing on cooperation aimed at building on East Asia community with joint efforts. For the 10+3, the top priority will be given to enhancing cooperation in financial security cooperation, trade and investment, poverty reduction, interconnectivity, international production capacity and people-to-people exchanges, Mr. Wang said. He said China has always been an active participant in and promoter of East Asian cooperation and is willing to work with partners to promote 10+3 to a higher level so that it can make its own contribution to regional peace, stability and development. The foreign ministers from China, Japan and South Korea said they support the building of an ASEAN community and expect ASEAN to play a leading role in regional cooperation. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said that the South China Sea issue which has significantly raised tensions in Asia, could be a moment of significant change for the better. Mr. Kerry also spoke of the high regard this nation held for the ASEAN bloc as he addressed a news conference at the summit in Vientiane today.
Last February, when President Obama hosted the first ever U.S.-ASEAN Leaders Summit, he declared, and I quote him, "ASEAN is central to the region's peace and prosperity and to our shared goal of building a regional order where all nations play by the same rules." So I think it's fair to say that the United States has long placed an enormous value on the relationship with ASEAN. Diplomatic matter.
Speaking at the ASEAN summit in Vientiane, Mr. Kerry also had strong words for North Korea over its nuclear and missile testing.
We don't know a lot. It is critical for the world and for all countries to fully enforce the sanctions that have been imposed, and we intend to do that. North Korea in January did another nuclear test. In February, March, April, May, continually, they have done missile tests. So together, we are determined, all of us assembled here, perhaps with one exception assembled here, to make absolutely certain the DPRK understands that there are real consequences for these actions.
A former employee went on knife rampage at a Japanese center for the disabled today, leaving 19 people dead and 25 injured in the country's worst mass killing for decades. Authorities identified the attacker as 26-year-old Satoshi Uematsu and said he had worked at a care center for mentally disabled people in Sakabihara, a city 50 kilometers west of Tokyo, until February. Police said the attack began in the early hours of the morning when Uematsu broke a first-floor window to get into the building. Uematsu, who was fired and hospitalized earlier this year after making a threat to kill hundreds of disabled people, later turned himself in at a police station carrying bloodied knives and admitting to the killings. He reportedly also said the disabled should all disappear. Months earlier, the 26-year-old reportedly gave a letter to Parliament outlining the bloody plan. He calmly turned himself in about 2 hours of the attack, police said. Some Japanese could not believe the crime had occurred in a peaceful country. At least 13 people were killed today in a twin bombing near UN and African Union buildings adjoining Mogadishu's airport in what the jihadist Shabab group claimed as a suicide attack. The dead included 7 UN guards. Group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the bombings. Unlike previous attacks by Al-Shabaab, which is linked to Al-Qaeda gunmen, did not accompany the suicide bombers. Police said the first suicide car bomber tried to speed through the barrier at the UN office but got shot at the car. A second suicide blast targeted a checkpoint manned by Somali security forces near the AU base in Mogadishu. The Shabab statement said it was a suicide attack by its militants. Mogadishu airport is heavily fortified and adjoins the capital's main base for AMISOM, the 2,200,000 strong force backing the government in the battle against Shabab insurgents. AMISOM troops were deployed to Somalia in 2007 to defend the government against attacks by the Shabab. Al-Shabaab opposes the presence of foreign troops in Somalia and has launched attacks in countries that have contributed to the AU force. More world news after the short break. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said these recent discussions between Russia and the United States should encourage moderate Syrian opposition groups to leave areas occupied by the Al-Qaeda's branch in Syria, thus helping to implement a truce. Mr. Lavrov made the comments to Russian media after his talks with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in Laos. The discussions followed Kerry's visit to Moscow earlier this month. Meanwhile, a trilateral meeting between the United States, Russia and the UN Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, was underway today in Geneva, aimed at reviving the stalled Syria peace talks. Today's closed-door meeting began shortly after the American and Russian foreign ministers met in Asia on the issue on the sidelines of a meeting of Southeast Asian nations. The discussions come as UN Syria Envoy Staffan de Mistura works to resume talks between the government of President Bashar Assad and opposition groups that were suspended in April. The meeting was called by the two co-chairs of the International Syria Support Group, ISSG, the US states and Russia, to assess and talk about the situation in Syria and about how to relaunch peace talks and political process, the UN Special Envoy for Syria office said. Last week, UN Envoy de Mistura said he hoped to convene a new round of intra-Syrian peace talks in Geneva in August. On the battlefront, Syrian government forces today seized a rebel-held neighborhood on the northwest outskirts of Aleppo, tightening the siege of the opposition-held parts of the city. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said loyalist troops had full control of the Luraman district after heavy clashes and reported fighting for neighboring Bani Zaid, which is also held by rebels. The two areas have been used by rebels to launch rockets into government-held districts in the west of the city. Aleppo has been roughly divided between government control in the west and rebel control in the east since mid-2012. In recent weeks, regime advances around the city's outskirts have severed the only remaining route into the rebel-held eastern neighborhoods, effectively placing them under siege. The monitor had no immediate toll in the fighting. French President François Hollande said two assailants who stormed a Normandy church and slit the throat of a priest today had claimed allegiance to the IS group. Hollande condemned the cowardly murder by two terrorists claiming to be from Daesh, the Arabic term for the jihadist group. The hostage drama in the Normandy town of Saint-Étienne-du-Rouvray further stunned a nation already shaken to its core after massacre in the French Riviera city of Nice less than 2 weeks ago, which was claimed by IS. The two attackers stormed the church during morning mass, taking 5 people inside hostage, including the priest who died after his throat was slit. 3 of the hostages were freed unharmed and another was fighting for their life. The incident comes as France is under high alert after an attack in Nice that killed 84 people and a string of deadly attacks last year claimed by the IS group. France is also under state of emergency and has extra police presence in the wake of the July 14 Nice attack. A mini tornado ripped through a toll booth in northern China's Jilin province as the country continued to battle a summer of severe weather. Early today, parts of the capital of Liaoning province were submerged by floods after more than 9 centimeters of rain fell in just 3 hours the night before. More than 800 people have died and about 200 are missing in a series of natural disasters that Since June, the worst casualty figures since a similar period in 2011, state media said. Large parts of central, eastern and northern China have been hit by flooding this summer, while a typhoon left a wave of destruction this month and a freak tornado killed at least 98 in the eastern province of Jiangsu in June. In Tibet, a group of military transport police had a narrow escape after a landslide struck just meters away from where they were standing. The officers were working on clearing one of the 65 places along the Tibet-Xichan highway that have been destroyed by extreme weather. Most of the roughly 20,000 evacuees forced out by a wildfire have been cleared to go home, but firefighters still had huge work ahead in taming a massive wildfire northwest of Los Angeles. A week of triple-digit temperatures awaited the army of some 3,000 firefighters battling flames in rugged hills and canyons. 26 helicopters have also been deployed to tackle the inferno which blackened the skies over Los Angeles over the weekend. Many roads and highways were partly closed. Residents of two neighborhoods still under threat had to remain out of their homes after a day when the fire grew only slightly to about 142.26 square kilometers. Around 20 homes have been destroyed in a blaze that started Friday afternoon and quickly tore through drought-ravaged brush that hadn't burned in decades. The ferocious blaze also destroyed much of Sable Ranch in Santa Clarita, which has Western-style buildings used for motive locations. The sand fire has turned out to be one of the worst in this region in decades. It has spread fast and it was fueled over the weekend by high temperatures and strong wind. Solar Impulse 2 has completed its historic round-the-world journey, becoming the first airplane to circle the globe powered only by the sun to promote renewable energy. Cheers and applause broke out as the plane touched down today before dawn in Abu Dhabi after the final leg of its marathon trip, which began on March 9th last year. Swiss explorer and project director Bernard Picard was in the cockpit during the more than 48-hour flight from Cairo, crossing the Red Sea, the vast Saudi desert, and flying over the Gulf. Dubbed the paper plane, Solar Impulse 2 circumnavigated the globe in 17 stages. It capped a remarkable 43,000-kilometer journey across 4 continents, 2 oceans and 3 seas, accomplished in 23 days of flying without a drop of fuel. No heavier than a car, but with the wingspan of a Boeing 747, the 4-engine battery-powered aircraft relies on around 17,000 solar cells embedded in its wings. Islam advocates moderation in many matters, including eating. Let's ponder on these words of wisdom from Imam Shafi'i. Being full from eating too much makes the body heavy, misleads the heart, exterminates intelligence, makes you sleepy and too weak to perform religious deeds. And that concludes News at 10 for this evening. Good night. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.